Yo, what is going on, guys? And welcome back to 365 Analytics. And today we are going to do a recap of day one slash last night, because last night we had a lot of moves, and over the weekend we had a lot of moves. But we're going to do mainly a day one recap of NFL legal tampering slash free agency slash the biggest part of the off season. So yeah, I'm gonna get right into talking about some of the moves, and we're gonna give my opinions and analysis on what I think and how I think it's gonna end out for these teams. So yeah, if you guys enjoy, please like, subscribe. That would all be greatly appreciated. But I say that every day, so who cares? Um, but yeah, we're gonna start off with last night. We had a big move in the NFC West coming out of Los Angeles. Davante Adams, the stud receiver, former New York Jet, former Las Vegas Raider, and former Green Bay Packer, is signing with the Los Angeles Rams. Kind of a curveball. I predicted that he would probably go wherever Aaron Rodgers goes, or maybe the Chargers I thought was a very good option. But he chose the Rams. He wanted to go to the West Coast, and I think it's a stud move for the Rams. He'll probably be wide receiver two there. Puka Nacua will probably still be technically be the wide receiver one, but Matthew Stafford still has a very good wide receiver duo, and obviously we know Cooper Kupp will most likely be out the door. So very good move for the Rams. Happening last night, the Pittsburgh Steelers are trading for the former Seattle Seahawk wide receiver DK Metcalf. And this is another interesting one. It will be interesting to see how him and George Pickens fit together in the wide receiver room. Who will the quarterback be? Will Russell Wilson be back? Will it be Aaron Rodgers? It'll be interesting to see. But DK Metcalf is a Steeler, got paid $30 million a year, which I thought was a little bit too much for DK Metcalf. But nonetheless, the Steelers got that wide receiver they've been searching for a while. They've been in the sweepstakes of Christian Kirk in the past, and they got Mike Williams last year. They've been in rumors of T Higgins in the past, and a ton of other guys. So they finally got their guy, DK Metcalf. Very good player. Very good move for the Steelers. And yeah, DK Metcalf is a Steeler. As we head into the big news on Monday, Hassan Reddick, the first official signing of the day, about 10 minutes into the free agency legal tampering period. Hassan Reddick finalized, or not finalized, but agreed to a deal with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to be their newest pass rusher. And I think it's a pretty good move. Had a pretty down year with the Jets, had contract dispute the first half of the season, joined the team, did not quite look ready, but he has a new opportunity on a 1 year prove it deal with Tampa Bay to do what he has done in the past. Had great years with Philly, had a great year with Carolina at one point. I think he started his career in Arizona, was very good there. So he has potential. He's pretty sure 30 years old now, but he can still play football, and I'm confident in that. I like this deal a lot for Tampa Bay, and I think this is a good compliment to who else they have on the defense. So yeah, I like this deal. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers also brought back Chris Godwin. The New England Patriots were heavily in on him, as reported. They offered like maybe $20 million over what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did, but he was like, "Nope, I want to stay in Tampa Bay. I like what I've built with Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans here." He was on pace to have a very good year before the injury last year, and he is back in Tampa Bay. 3 year deal, $66 million. That's $22 million a year. Chris Godwin cashes in. Happy for him. Very good player, and he stays in Tampa Bay. This one's not really the big move, but I did want to talk about it because of the money. I think it's a little bit of an overpay. 3 years, $45 million with $30 million guaranteed. I mean, Javon Kinlaw is a good rotational piece as a defensive tackle. He's made plays before. He was solid with the New York Jets last year. Not a bad player by any means, but $15 million a year is a lot for a guy like that. And it's a big investment, but he's their Jonathan Allen replacement. He now joins Deron Payne and Johnny Newton. I assume he becomes a defensive tackle number three because I assume they probably start Johnny Newton as defensive tackle too. But good player joined the Commanders. Maybe a little bit too much money though. Another guy I think was a little bit overpaid, Dan Moore. You want to ask anybody what they think of Dan Moore? Ask Steelers fans. He's not a terrible player. He's probably in middle of the pack in tackles in the league, but 4 years, $82 million with $50 million guaranteed is a big investment. There was reports this morning that he could get 20 million a year, and that's exactly what he got. Tennessee makes the investment this time, though. Very, very inconsistent tackle. He's had his moments, but he's played well at times. So a little definitely an overpay. The overpay of free agency in my eyes this thus far. Still have a long way to go, obviously, but a little bit too much of an investment for me. But solid player nonetheless. Joined the Tennessee Titans. Carlton Davis joining the New England Patriots, a guy I thought was going to return to Detroit. We'll talk about Detroit's replacement for him in a second. 3 years, $60 million. New England made their first big splash. They also signed Robert Spillane today, which I thought was a very good move. Former Las Vegas Raiders linebacker slash defensive end. But they bring in Carlton Davis, a very, very underrated corner in my eyes. Um, he's probably borderline top 10, top 15. He's around that range. Good player. And he will pair up nicely with Christian Gonzalez. And that will form a very, very good cornerback duo in New England. So, good move. Announcement: the Detroit Lions are bringing in former Jets cornerback DJ Reed. Very underrated player for years now. Started with San Francisco, went to Seattle, was very underrated there. Cashed in with New York Jets, has been a nice, nice compliment to Sauce Gardner for years now. And now he's going to Detroit Lions to most likely be their number one cornerback. It'll be telling to see how much confidence they have in Terrion Arnold alongside of him. But good signing nonetheless. Very underrated player. Not enough people talk about him. And I think he finally gets his chance to be a number one now. That'll be exciting to see. Happy for DJ Reed. Probably the biggest non quarterback move of free agency. Milton Williams cashes in $26 million a year with the New England Patriots. So we had a roller coaster of Milton Williams negotiations this today. Free agency window opened at about 12 o'clock. At about 12:45 to 1 o'clock, most likely, it was announced Milton Williams has joined the Carolina Panthers, and they are finalizing a deal for him to become a newest Carolina Panthers defensive tackle to complement Derek Brown. Nope, deal was not finalized yet. Elliott Wolf and the New England Patriots swooped in. They upped their offer, $26 million a year, and Mike Vrabel's defense gets their newest defensive tackle. A lot of money. A lot of money. I mean, New England has money to spend. They're obviously going to spend it. I will not frown them for that, but it is a lot of money. Good player, good signing. The first big quarterback domino of the day. Sam Darnold signed with the Seattle Seahawks, 3 years, $100 million. Smith replacement since Geno Smith got traded to the Las Vegas Raiders on Friday night. It was the worst kept secret over the weekend. As soon as Geno Smith got traded to the Raiders, every single insider, every single executive, every single general manager knew that Sam Darnold was going to become a Seattle Seahawk. And his newest number one wide receiver, JSN, that forms a duo there. It will be interesting to see how he plays under not a great offensive line, has had its problems before. Stone Forsythe was one of the worst tackles in the league last year, but they're going to try to beef it up, and he reunites with his former, not offensive coordinator, but I think he was passing game coordinator when Sam Darnold was in San Francisco, Clint Kubiak. He reunites with him, so it's a familiar system. And your newest Seattle Seahawks quarterback, Sam Darnold. And your next quarterback domino to fall only a few minutes later after the Darnold news. Justin Fields, currently over in Dubai, has agreed to a deal with the New York Jets. 2 years, $40 million, $30 million of it guaranteed. I've said on this channel before, I have never been a Justin Fields fan since he was back in Chicago, since he got drafted, since he was coming out as a prospect in 2021. I have never been high on Justin Fields. I thought he was an overrated prospect coming out, and it only made it worse that he got drafted by the Chicago Bears. Definition of QB purgatory. Then he went to Pittsburgh, played all right in Russell Wilson's absence, like the first 5, 6 weeks of the year. Played fine, was not overly great. Now the New York Jets and Aaron Glenn get their guy. It is a big year ahead for Justin Fields. He's their starting quarterback, and it'll be interesting to see what he can do. I don't like the signing because I've never been a fan of Justin Fields. I've never believed in him, but it'll be interesting to see. Dayo Odeyingbo, one of the uprising 25-year-old pass rushers in the National Football League, cashing in on a 3 year, $48 million contract. $16 million a year with the Chicago Bears to complement Montez Sweat on the edge. This is a guy that every executive in the NFL knew was up in for a payday. A young guy that a lot of GMs think his best football is still in front of him. A very aspiring pass rusher, been very underrated since he's been in Indianapolis, but now he cashes in, and it will be interesting to see the duo of him and Montez Sweat. And I think it's a good move by the Bears. The Bears are absolutely killing free agency so far. They brought in Joe Tooney, absolutely revamped the offensive line. Drew Dahlman was signed today by the Bears, making him the second highest paid center in the league right now. But the Bears are killing it. The Bears are killing it. Grady Jarrett got brought in by the Bears. We'll talk about that in a few minutes, most likely. But yeah, good signing. Talanoa Hufanga, the former San Francisco 49ers draft pick, teams up with Sean Payton's defense to form a safety duo of Talanoa Hufanga and Brandon Jones, and a secondary with Patrick Surtain, the defensive player of the year, already in it. Very, very good signing. It'll be interesting to see if his best football is still in front of him. $15 million a year for Talanoa. Had a great, great season in 2022. It'll be interesting to see if he can ever replicate that again. But good signing for the Broncos. I'm a big fan of this. Josh Sweat, the could have been Super Bowl MVP. They decided to give it to Hurts, but he had a damn good game in New Orleans. Josh Sweat, 4 years, $76.4 million a year, cashing in with the Arizona Cardinals. I think everybody in the National Football League knew that one of Milton Williams and one of Josh Sweat, one of those guys is going to New England and one of those guys is going to Arizona. Both those teams had a ton of cap space and they had to use it. Arizona makes their splash signing, reunites him with Jonathan Gannon, and I'm a big fan of the signing. I think his best football is still in front of him. He showed you what he could do in front of everyone in the world in the Super Bowl, and slam dunk by the Cardinals. Laramie Tunsil, a trade that absolutely came out of nowhere today. Houston star offensive tackle Laramie Tunsil is being traded to the Washington Commanders for a second, a third, and a fourth, I think. Like two of them being next year, one of them being this year. Kind of confusing, but obviously a star offensive tackle has done great things before. Kind of had a down year, had a lot of penalties this past season, but he can still play. And to be honest with you, I don't really understand it for the Texans. Why would you do this? The offensive line was already bad, and they haven't really added any pieces to it just yet. They just released Shaq Mason. I think Will Fries could be a contender to go to Houston, but it just makes a bad offensive line worse, and I don't really understand the motive behind the move, but Laramie Tunsil is a commander. And the last one we're going to go over for today, Charvarius Ward is an Indianapolis Colt, the former 49ers cornerback and Chiefs cornerback. Been a solid player in this league for a number of years now. Cashes in with Indianapolis, who Indianapolis needed a corner. I thought Asante Samuel Jr. could be a contender to go there. He's still on the open market, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see where he goes. He really cashes in. $60 million is a lot, and I like the move for Indianapolis. They need a cornerback bad, and they also signed Cam Bynum from Minnesota today, so that would be a good way to complement him. But I like the move, and yeah, good for Indianapolis. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. If you guys did enjoy, please like, subscribe. That would all be greatly appreciated. There was a lot of moves in this video today that happened that I didn't go over. Nate Hobbs to Green Bay, I thought was a very good move. Obviously Cam Bynum to Indy. I talk about Grady Jarrett to Chicago. Grady Jarrett to Chicago was a very good move. What else am I missing? There's a lot of good ones. A lot of good ones today. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. If you guys did enjoy, I'll see you next time.